IATA's Chief Executive, Giovanni Bisignani. Giovanni, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Let's talk about the traffic first, falling in the month. Is it just a blip, or are we still on the road to recovery when we look at underlying passenger traffic?
The recovery is faster than expected. Last year, we had a drop of revenues of $80 billion. We will recover half this year, with revenues expected by $522 billion. But yes, April, we had a shock. And the shock was global, because it hit global traffic. It went down 2.4%, and Europe 11%.
And the shock was the ash cloud, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you've been very critical of the way that governments and authorities reacted. What went wrong?
They were slow and uncoordinated. What the numbers? We had 10 million passengers stranded, 100,000 flight cancellations, and 1.8 billion in drop in revenues. And governments took 5 days to arrange a conference call. And there were uncoordinated measures all over Europe. It was an embarrassing situation for the world.
What do you recommend to ensure that that never happens again?
Two facts must change. Short term, let's not invent the wheel. Let's see what the United States are doing. And they've been involved in several times with cases as volcano, with no big problem. They are treating the volcano issues like the weather. They identify a no-fly zone with test planes, and that's all. You don't fly in that zone. The rest is up to airlines and to pilots. On the medium term, it's time to have a date for a single European sky. We're waiting this since 20 years.
Yeah.
It will be $5 billion of savings and 16 million CO2. And governments are still speaking and making some tiny adjustments. Managers, the network managers, the fabs, I want a date for a single European sky.
Are you going to get a single date or not?
If Europe is able to show leadership, it's time to show the world that Europe exists and is able to act.
And as we're seeing, Giovanni, Europe often is lacking in leadership, isn't it? Specifically over the European debt crisis. So how can it get its act together over air travel?
It could be a good showcase to see that Europe exists and can be leader in moving forward.
One of your other criticisms was passenger care requirements during the ash cloud crisis were, I quote, unfair and onerous. Does that suggest that carriers should have no obligations to their passengers?
No, we are fully committed with our obligation when the reason of the disruption is related to the airline business. If we have a strike, if we have a technical problem. But we cannot be responsible for weather, for earthquake, or for ashes. No other business is responsible for this.
You talk about labour unrest. We know what's happening with British Airways right now. What would you say right now to British Airways cabin crew, which are into their 4th day of strikes?
Look at the numbers. Last year, the industry lost $10 billion. This year, Europe will still be in a deep loss. Paychecks can be paid just to sustain or if we have profitability and the situation increases. Now, striking in this moment is simply irresponsible.
A message from IATA's main man. Thank you very much, Giovanni. Giovanni Bisignani there, the Chief Executive Officer of IATA.